yeah. Back from the Friday of Mythic raid testing. It sucks. It still sucks. These fights still suck. I complained about it on the heroic testing. I complained about it later on because these are the worst fights, and then now we got to Mythic testing, and they still suck. That's the TLDR of the whole thing. Also, my chat's overlapping, I'm sorry, but, you know, what can you do? But we had the two fights today were the Council fight and Smolderon. The Council fight still sucked. You still couldn't cleave things. In theory, you can hold the bear boss here on top of Pip or on top of the Dryad, and it would be okay. In reality, it's really difficult because it's a really, really hectic fight. So, it was a lot of suffering, and there's really no good way around it. The Mythic mechanic had the special effects overlapping, so you basically just had to like throw a polymorph on top of the bear guy while you were getting constricted by the Dryad, or you had to step in the flowers and then do a charge into the Dryad. So, you know, it was just random overlaps. It could be stacked. It's definitely possible, but it's hard. It's rough. Our group wasn't doing it, and I suffered for an hour doing this because it sucked. It was just terrible. I have no other words. I'm just gonna keep complaining about it because I don't know what else to say. I tried playing Indiscriminate Carnage because the range is so big. That was okay, but not great. I tried playing Shadow Dance. That was okay, I guess. It wasn't anything impressive. I tried playing Spatter. That was really bad. What else did I try? I tried Arterial, but it never reached. So, yeah. Right now, the strategy looks like you just kind of single target one of the bosses. If your raid is able to hold one on top of the other, or if like someone finds a strat where you can hold one on top of the other boss, then like you'd probably play something, but right now it's not worth talenting into any of it. It's not worth talenting into Crimson Tempest. That was terrible. The only thing really worth is talenting into Bone Spike and then tossing them around and calling it a day. It's just really unfun. It's really melee unfriendly, and it's really, really unfun. But surprisingly, this was the not worst boss, because Smolderon exists, and for some goddamn reason, they have decided to make this fight even worse than the Council fight. This fight, I mean, the testing's only an hour, right? I had an hour on this fight. 20 minutes in, I already wanted to just close the game and leave. It's really bad. It's really bad. I don't understand how they could do it. It's a single target fight, but it's so bad. So, problem number one. On poll, you're doing an opener, right? So you're here, you're doing an opener, and then, guess what happens? You press all your cooldowns, you get a debuff. Okay, goodbye opener, you're not doing any damage now. I just stood out there, I'm like, okay, well, I can't stand in the stack because that's where people need to soak. There's no grace period on these tornadoes. You spawn them and you instantly get hit. It's ridiculous. These orbs, you have to kite, and you're the only one who can pop them. So I'm fixated with this orb. I'm the only one who can pop that orb. Now, I could be in melee here. We didn't understand the mechanic at the time. Or like who was popping when. But if you have to kite this as melee, guess what? It sucks too. It's all bad. You'll also get into situations, if I find a pull that lasted a little bit, you'll get into situations where if you don't bait the puddles correctly, then you're screwed out of that as well. Like these circles, that circle in front of me, that's a geyser. It's gonna spawn lava pools. All right, so you see here the lava pools are forming. Yeah. What am I supposed to do about this? And it ticks for like 20% of my health, which is, it's livable. You can run through it, but it still is so much of my health that I just. You're running around for 90% of the fight, and part of me wants to like look at myself in a mirror and go, "Oh, well, just get good, man. Just stand on the boss." And again, if there's some magical strat that we didn't see or we couldn't use, then maybe it's possible. Sure. But it's right now in the heat of the moment, like progressing the fight, it's not possible. Not the way we were doing it. The heal absorb on this fight is also super overtuned. There was logs early on that were 9 healing or 8 healing the fight just to try and get the heal absorb off. And the timings are just really, really bad. You have to bait the geysers, but then you also have to spread, and so you can't spread and bait at the same time. And if you don't spread, you die, and if you don't bait, then the puddles go everywhere, and that ruins you as well. So I don't know. They gotta change so many things to make this fight good. They'd have to change a bunch of timings on it. Add a grace period on the tornadoes. Right now, no matter where you're going, you're just screwed. The other thing is that the intermission, which we only saw like once or twice, you do 100% increased damage to the boss during the intermission. So you'd want to hold your cooldowns here on pull, but you'll see that towards the end, there's a pull here. Nope. There's a pull here. This is probably good enough. You see this circle right here? If this circle doesn't get baited properly, right? Like this set, and this circle is slightly more inwards, it covers the boss. And if it covers the boss, you can't hit the boss during the intermission. Because the circles that radiate, right? The circles that radiate on this boss, like these big ones, like this, right? It's like the Kurog rings. So you'll see that there's a circle, a gap, a circle, a gap. Inside, like on the edge here, he's standing in the middle, and you can stand next to him. And then the next time he ticks, I don't know if we'll be able to see it. Yeah, so the next time it ticks, the rings move. So now there's a ring here and a space here and a ring here and a space here, and you can't stand in the middle. So as a melee, you're trying to be here, and then go into the middle, and then go back out to here, and then go back into the middle. If there's a circle here, you can't go there. If you're anywhere in this like quadrant that's on my screen, it's fire all over the place. So I don't really get what you're supposed to do. There's a lot of mechanics and a lot of movement and a lot of baiting, and it's targetable by everyone, including tanks. So if the tanks are holding the boss in the middle and they get targeted by the geyser and it puts a lava pool in the middle, it's just there. There's nothing you can do about it. You just got RNG'd. Yeah, this is absolutely miserable. I had the most unfun 2 hours testing a raid probably that I've had in 4 or 5 tiers now. The only thing remotely that comes close to me right now in terms of unfun is Stone Legion Generals. Diurna from Vault was very similar to this, except that on Diurna I could at least like I didn't have any mechanics. I could just hit the boss and just wait. But this is like Diurna, except that there's also mechanics that just one-shot me that I don't have control over. Yeah, it's bad. It's unfathomably bad. And I really, really hope that they change a bunch of mechanics and change a bunch of timings, because this just isn't sustainable. The only positive thing I can say about this is the fights are at least early in the raid. They're not late. So the good fights are at least later on, and hopefully these things are kind of pushovers. The council fight is set to be the 4th, I believe. And this is set to be the 5th. We can check in game real quick. I'll also talk about some talent stuff. Okay, so Smolderon's set to be the 7th, so it is a later boss. Okay. That's not good, because Smolderon's the terrible one. But Council is probably easily going to be like a kind of a pushover fight, so that's okay. But yeah, Smolderon's an issue. Talent-wise, Smolderon's single target. I didn't talk about Smolderon's talents much. I played this the entire time. It's alright. I don't... Echoing Reprimand feels a little weak. Because Lethality boosts Kingsbane quite a bit. Obviously, we don't have sims for it yet. But right now it's feeling like you either do this, or you swap all of this out and take Dance, and then Snapshot Kingsbane. Because this Night Stalker makes the entire Kingsbane bigger. Because it doesn't drop when Dance drops. So... that's an option as well. You can drop Sepsis for Bone Spike, but alternatively, there's not much here. You could take something like Internal Bleeding, but then this point is really awkward. You could take Dashing. You can, take Arterial here, but these points honestly don't feel that great, even though you can put them in the bottom here. Arterial doesn't feel that strong, honestly. It's okay, but nothing crazy. Dashing is okay, but nothing crazy. Tiny Toxic just doesn't do much damage in single target. This is kind of a must pick with Arterial and Mythic Plus if you're going that route, but otherwise it's not that good. Carnage doesn't do anything in single target. You could go Sense of Blood here for 4% Agi, but 4% Agi is really bad compared to just doing something like this. So... those are currently the ideas. There's also a lot of talk about what to do with Venom Rush and Vicious Venoms, because you could drop a point here and then put it somewhere like Internal Bleeding, and then take another point here like Dashing. This might be better as well. But no sims means we have no idea. We're just field crafting the entire time. So, yeah, that is sort of all the things that I have to say about the testing. Hopefully we're getting simulations next week. Maybe the week after. I will be streaming all of that stuff, all of the APL changes that need to be made. Testing a bunch of stuff in simulations to see how to play. So I'll be streaming that when I can. So if you want to join along for that, join me. Twitch is in the description. The Wowhead article is also out. That got released earlier today. So if you want to read the first impression article that I wrote, it's a long read, but that could be something you can do. That'll also be in the description, as well as the logs. And yeah. Did I miss anything? Probably. I don't know. I'm really negative, and I want to log out and do anything else. Because this was miserable. So, yeah, bye. Have a good one. Don't test these bosses. If you tested these bosses, I'm so sorry. But better bosses next week, probably. Okay, bye.